And so, and he's starting out, he says, "Watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming, I am the Christ, and they will deceive many." And so, who's this guy? He's Obama. He's our president right now. I need to respect him because he's our president and God put him in office. But he is a false Christ. I'm sorry. I mean, I work at this library for no pay. The people there worship Obama. They have a book there that says, Barack Obama, child of promise, child of hope. Now, if that's not anything less than what we call Jesus at Christmas time, I mean, he's a false Messiah. I don't think he's the false Messiah, but he's a false Messiah. And his people who vote for him, and Obama himself will have a lot to answer for one day, because he's deceiving many people. So you will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. And this has been happening for 2,000 years now. It's been the end times. False Christs have come along. This is a picture from the Iraq War. And these are people in the foxhole. There's wars happening right now. When this year started, we were only in 2 wars. One with Iraq and one with Afghanistan. Now we're in 3. We can add Libya to that list. And it will be more than that probably. But such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. This was the Japan earthquake. This happened last month. There were 2 earthquakes there. Last year there were 2 earthquakes in Haiti, 2 earthquakes in Chile, and now 2 earthquakes in Japan. All these are at the beginning of birth pains, so they'll happen, then they'll happen again, then they'll start happening faster and faster and faster until they finally have a baby. Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you will be hated by all nations because of me. At that time many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many. And who are these people? Well, this is Oprah. She's false prophetess extraordinaire. She doesn't believe that Jesus is the only way to God. This is Rob Bell. He's a false prophet extraordinaire. He doesn't believe Jesus is the only way to God. He's a universalist. They're both universalists. So to them, Jesus, you can find Jesus in just about anything to them. If you're a Hindu worshipping Krishna, that's your Jesus, and it's still going to save you to them. So they deny that Jesus is the only way to heaven. But there's no other name under which we can be saved. If you don't believe in Jesus, you're going to hell. And they're leading people astray, and then they'll be the first people to be punished because of what they've done. And so, but because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold, but he who stands firm to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So despite all these bad things, the gospel is still going to be preached, and people are still going to hear the message, whether they reject it or not. Now let's skip ahead to verse 32. It says, "Now learn this lesson from the fig tree." So there's that fig tree again. "As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Even so, when you see all these things, you know that it is near, right at the door. I tell you the truth, this generation will certainly not pass away until all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away." So, when it's winter time, there's snow on the ground, there is no leaves on the tree, what can you assume is going to happen next? Springtime's going to come. And then they'll grow back, and then summer will become. And so, if you see all these bad things happening, and they're happening more often and in greater quantity, greater quality and quantity, you can assume that Jesus is coming back, and he's going to bring the springtime with him and an eternal summer. So even though there's sad times right now, we don't have to be sad because God's coming back, and actually the sad times are him keeping his promise. And so, and some idiots out there think this was just a sign before the falling of the temple. That's not true. The temple did fall in 70 AD, and it will be rebuilt again someday. But Jesus was talking about his coming back. I mean, he hasn't come back yet. I don't care what the Jehovah's Witnesses say. He's coming back. Everybody's going to know. It's not going to be a secret. It says in verse 27, "For as lightning comes from the east, is visible in the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man." So, you're going to know about it. It's not going to be a secret. Every eye will see him, and every knee will bow down and proclaim he's the Christ. And a lot of people will be sad that they rejected him. But some people will never be sorry that they rejected him, even if they do spend an eternity in hell. But he's coming back. I love John MacArthur, but I don't agree with him on his dispensational theology, because he believes that the Jews will actually get a second chance after the rapture. But I'm saying we're part of Israel, so we're the Jews now. And so God came to call the true Israel, not just the nation Israel, even though Israel is definitely a sign that he is real, because they're still alive. But Mark Driscoll's also wrong, because we do need to care about the signs, because we need to go around and tell people about Jesus before we should always live every day as if he is coming back right now, because we never know what's going to happen. I mean, right today somebody could go up into the temple or rebuild the Jewish temple and call himself God, and we would never know. But I guess a good sign that he's coming back would be the rebuilding of the temple, because I think they do talk about that in Daniel at least, or maybe even in Revelation. I don't know. I'm probably getting John MacArthur stuff mixed in with the real Bible. Even though John MacArthur is very biblical, and he has influenced me in a lot of ways. And like YouTube posted 5 sermons on the end times from him, and then immediately after that, Mark Driscoll had a sermon on the end times, and this was after I prepared my lesson on the end times. But it's nothing to worry about. If you're a Christian, you're going to be all right. If you're not a Christian, you're not going to be all right, but you still won't care that you made it right with God. But please care, because he loves you, and he's done everything for you. And it's Easter, and you can rise from the dead, and you'll be all right. Just believe in him and let him take over your life. Let him control your mouth if you're a bad cusser. Let him control your sex life if you're out of control that way. In either direction. Make him the Lord of your life, and you will not regret it.